So, hello everyone, welcome back. Now, Bitcoin traders have been keeping an eye on the charts, and one eye is actually on the Middle East over the last few days. Now, what initially looked like a major breakthrough between Iran and the United States quickly became much more complicated. So, with ceasefire announcements, renewed tensions, and fresh concerns surrounding one of the most important oil routes in the world. Now, at the same time, Bitcoin has remained surprisingly resilient despite all this uncertainty. So today's video, we're going to break down exactly what happened in these 72 hours, why markets are paying attention, and what this could mean next for Bitcoin. So let's get straight into it. Now let's start with a timeline because there's been a lot of confusion. So over the last couple of days, negotiations between Iran and the United States resumed in Switzerland. So the objective was very straightforward: reduce tensions, prevent further escalation, and move toward a framework that could stabilize the region. Now, initially, headlines suggested progress. Many media outlets reported the diplomatic efforts were moving in a positive direction and that both sides were willing to continue discussions. Now, this is where things get a little messy. So because while negotiations continued, reports began emerging of renewed military activity connected to regional conflicts involving Iran-backed groups and Israel. So despite positive headlines about diplomacy, the reality on the ground remained uncertain. And that's the key takeaway, that there's no finalized space agreement that has ended all the conflict. So instead, what we've seen is an ongoing diplomatic process that's attempting to reduce tensions while military and political risks remain elevated. Now, one thing worth understanding is that markets generally hate uncertainty more than bad news. Now, bad news can't be priced in. Bad news can be priced in, but uncertainty is much harder to price. So that's why every single headline over the last few days has triggered reactions across multiple asset classes. Now, oil traders are watching Hormuz, equity traders are watching geopolitical developments, and crypto traders are watching both. Now, you can see prices reacted very choppy in these last couple of days. So the question investors are asking right now is simple. It's that, are we moving towards a lasting reduction in tensions, or is this simply another temporary pause before continued escalation? And nobody actually has a definitive answer just yet. And now let's talk Bitcoin. Now, what's interesting about Bitcoin is that Bitcoin has actually held up pretty well despite all the conflict and uncertainty that we've had in a couple of days. So a few years ago, Bitcoin may have reacted differently, but today's market is increasingly driven by institutional capital. We have ETF, we have corporations holding Bitcoin, we have hedge funds participating in crypto markets, and because of all of that, Bitcoin has become far more connected to global macro events. Now, the market isn't necessarily pricing in world peace. What it's pricing in is a reduced probability of a worst case outcome. And that right there is a very important distinction. So as long as negotiations continue and conflict doesn't significantly escalate, Bitcoin has room to remain constructive. However, if talks break down, if we see a major disruption around global energy markets, expect volatility to return. But currently we are expecting Bitcoin to carry on with the way it's going. And you can see it's slowly making its way back up towards the upside. Currently we're sitting at 65k. So we'll see in the upcoming days if Bitcoin can actually hold these levels very nicely. And now, outside of the geopolitical headlines, the biggest crypto story remains institutional adoption. So the market continues focusing on the three major things. Number one being the Bitcoin ETFs. Institutional demand continues to be one of the biggest drivers of the long-term sentiment. And now number two is the stablecoin regulation. Now, governments and regulators are increasingly moving toward frameworks that could help integrate crypto deeper into traditional finance. And now number three is the infrastructure and adoption. So the industry is slowly shifting away from the pure speculation and toward the real world usage. So while many traders are focused on these short-term headlines, these longer-term trends continue to shape where capital is heading within the crypto ecosystem. So if you're catching up on the last 72 hours, here's the simple version. Now, negotiations between the US and Iran have continued. There have been positive developments, but there has not yet been a final peace agreement that permanently resolves the whole situation. Now, markets remain focused on the Strait of Hormuz, regional stability, and whether diplomacy can actually continue moving forward. And then as for Bitcoin, the story remains largely the same. Institutional adoption continues, macro matters more than ever, and geopolitical developments remain a key risk factor that every investor should be watching right now, and I suggest you guys do the same. So let me know of your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Bitcoin benefits from this uncertainty, or do you think markets are underestimating the risks ahead? Now, before we wrap up today's video, I have a very exciting opportunity for you all. Now, Evedex is a very, very full platform. Now, if you're looking for a decentralized platform that allows you to trade directly while maintaining control of your assets, Evedex is that platform worth checking out. So one of the interesting things is that they're currently running rewards and prize campaigns where active participants have the opportunity to actually compete for prizes, including iPhones, Apple Watches, and AirPods. So if you're already trading and looking for an additional incentive, it may be something worth exploring. Now, as always, make sure you understand the risks involved with trading, do your own research, and never trade with money you cannot afford to lose. But if you'd like to learn more about Evedex and see the campaigns that they're running, you'll find the link for that down in the description below. Now, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.